and welcome to another episode of the We Are Tottenham TV podcast. I'm Sim, here's with my brother Ben. Major pleasure for us to be joined by our good friends from South Dorset Spurs, Lee and Jason. How are you guys doing?
Yeah, really good, thank you. Yeah, great to be here, thanks.
Yeah, it's great to have you guys on. Obviously, we see you guys fairly regularly on a weekly basis at the Punjabi Spurs events at the Novotel. Yeah. I feel like it's been a while though since we've done any of those events. How long has it been?
Yeah, I guess it was the Arsenal game, wasn't it?
Yeah, it wasn't too long ago.
Yeah. It was quite.
I don't know if we were making for that.
It feels like it was ages away.
Yeah, man. So, how from coming from South Dorset?
Give them a bit of introduction to South Dorset Spurs.
Yeah, go on then. Sure. I mean, I was about to say, how did you? Who set up the group, South Dorset Spurs? Was it? Are you the founding members?
No, we're not. No, not at all.
It's been going about 10 years or so, I think they said.
10th anniversary in 2018, so we're in a sort of 10th, 11th year.
Oh wow! And how did it come about? Do you know?
Just a group,
I think just a group of friends up in Weymouth that kind of knew each other, so they all kind of got together, went to the local pub together, and kind of grew from there. And they go to different games and stuff. But then you don't realise. I mean, in Dorset, there's actually a massive following, isn't there?
Yeah.
Of Tottenham, actually massive following.
What do you think that is?
I guess there's lots of connections for people that moved out of London and stuff like that. Like myself moved out of London, so. There's a lot of people around that area, connections, family connections, like Jason, your dad, wasn't it?
Yeah, for me, well, my dad sort of grew up in Chingford and Grandad worked in Edmonton, so that connection for Tottenham for me. But I grew up in Exmouth, so and then moved to Dorset, so even further away. From.
And you guys travel for every home game?
Yeah, pretty much. Yeah.
How long is that journey?
For example, 12:30 kick-off, we'll leave Weymouth at 6 o'clock in the morning.
Jesus, just for a home game. Oh
first beer down the range is probably about 6:15, believe it or not. And then
for Billy.
Yeah, for Billy and our friends. But there's normally two minibuses worth of guys coming up from that area. We can usually fill it up, and then we all meet at Fleet if we are split up, big group. And then we go on to, well, as we have done for Wembley's, we've all gone to the Novotel, JJ Moon's for a bit of breakfast maybe, and then it's turned into more of a social event since we've been at Wembley, to be fair. So.
The Punjabi thing has been really good. Big shout out to Josh for that, because he did bring a lot of people together and he's done a lot of work.
Oh, right, because before it was kind of, everyone was kind of separate in their own.
Yeah, it's like,
things.
well, where do you go? So, people hanging out in the Torch or what was the other place? Watkins Folly and those sort of places. So everyone was kind of spread about. So it kind of brought a lot of people together, and I think, made a lot of connections and that, and met a lot of other supporters clubs that you didn't know were around, like the Kerno Spurs guys from down in Cornwall and stuff like that. So it's really good from that point of view. And I think we made a lot of friends that you'll probably keep in touch with and stuff like that, and hopefully build for when we go home.
I wonder if there's going to be somewhere at the new stadium where we can all go before the game and stuff like that, because I know in the new stadium that a lot of people are going to want to drink inside because the beer's so good inside and the food's so good inside, and there's just so much space to sit around. And
the price is so good inside?
Well, no, they're saying
£4.50 or wherever it is.
For a pint?
For a pint, yeah.
That's
I don't think
it's
more
it's the same as outside.
So.
Yeah.
But our group are quite territorial. They like the Gilpin Bell and the LTs before they go to a game.
Yeah.
And that's what they're most looking forward to getting. I wasn't part of them then when they were sort of going through that scenario. I was very much go to the ground, watch the football, go home. But ever since we've been to Wembley, we had this big social event. It's taken a whole day rather than.
Yeah, I mean, me personally, I always used to go to the Billy Nick before the game, and LTs after. I love LTs. Big shout for Dell, the DJ in there, who's brilliant. So I love DJ Dell. He's great, and he really gets everyone going in there. It's a good laugh in there.
It's a good. It's
a bit of a walk, mine, because
there's some good pre-match festivities in the Billy Nick sometimes as well, isn't there?
Yeah. So they tell me. I haven't seen any. I haven't seen any of that myself. I'm usually in the garden. I don't partake.
I'll piss out on that.
So you guys have been travelling down together for 10 years?
The group have.
The group have, South Dorset Spurs.
So as a group got bigger and they left the original pub, which is the Park down in Weymouth, and they adopted another pub called the Royal Oak, which is just on the outskirts, just a mile or so up from the beach. And that's steadily grown now up to around about 120 members, I think we've gone up to now. So with the social media and everything, we're reaching out to a lot of people in the area and just trying to draw them in, really.
Yeah, because there's a lot of people that obviously don't know about South Dorset Spurs and all that kind of stuff, because there have been a couple of other groups and stuff. So we're probably the most prominent at the moment, like running with the website and Facebook and Instagram, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, I would say the two I noticed the most are you and Yorkshire Spurs.
Yeah. So we're trying to let everybody know that we're out there, so if they want to get involved and want to come to the games and stuff, it's good for going on, because there's obviously a lot of youngsters and that want to go as well, isn't there?
Yeah,
so we've had a few youngsters join us and stuff like that. It's been really good. So got a few pick-up points along the way. So we go from Weymouth, Dorchester, all the way through to Poole, where I live, and then on through to Ringwood, which is kind of all on the way. So we're kind of picking up people en route and then dropping them off on the way back. So yeah, it's
a massive commitment you guys go through for every home game to come. I mean, most away games you go to, or a lot of away games you guys go to, you know?
Some do, some don't.
Yeah.
We don't do an organised trip. A lot of fans, a lot of them do go, but only if they can get their own tickets and stuff like that. So we can never get enough to make it worth like having full buses and stuff like that. You just can't get the tickets. But I mean, sometimes like Newcastle last year, I think a big crowd went up for that. But they make like a weekend of it and stuff like that. So, but it's just ticket availability, isn't it? It's always difficult.
The point system is working against us. We've probably only got 2 people out of 40 season ticket holders who've got enough points to go away, believe it or not. So it's a pretty rare commodity, and we rely on friends and all the people out there to say, do you fancy coming along?
Well, there's about half a dozen of us at Southampton.
Yeah, we managed to.
But it's hard to. It was even hard to get to that.
Is that the closest one to you?
Bournemouth.
That's 11,000. Are you all going? Well,
we won't get a ticket. You know, so if anyone out there wants to give us a ticket,
these guys are struggling.
I'll be at Twickenham that day, so I'll miss that one.
Right, so I'll have his ticket if no one's.
So you've got 40 season tickets for the new stadium.
Around about that. Yeah, so around about 40 out of the 120, sort of the rest of Hotspur members and all the rest of it that goes with that. So.
And you guys have been inside yet? Have you seen it?
I've been in twice, lucky.
You've been in twice, lucky.
Yeah.
We've only been in once. Have you been in it?
I made a commitment. I wasn't going to go in until the day of the first game. I was saying to you earlier, but I have given in and said I'm going to go to the Legends game. So I've got.
Yeah, you're going to go to the Legends game.
You're going to go to the Legends one.
I'm going to everything I can.
Everything.
I'm a bit of a stadium geek. I wanted to get in there and see all the bells and whistles, and to get in there early. You can take your time, take a few photos, and just absorb it. Because trying to get near the programme wall, for instance, you wouldn't get near it on a match day because it's going to be so popular. So having that time to just take it all in, and just view the place, it's quite special actually, so especially on the south stand.
Do you know how many panels have gone in a la Chris Callan?
Wasn't it around about 2? I don't know. I was way out by about $3,000.
I know there's one that ain't gone in because he's got it at home, isn't he? So there's one that's definitely not gone in.
That's number 6 of what you're not supposed to say, Lee.
Come on. Cross it off my list.
But I mean, we're all looking forward to getting in there, and it's going to be an experience. But what you don't want I've been in the West Stand, I was lucky enough to get an invite into there, and it's very comfortable. And what we don't want to do is make it too comfortable that they don't come out from half time and don't go and watch the football.
Like Wembley,
where you've got the prawn sandwich brigade or whatever, and you see that little strip, and it just kills the atmosphere when you watch it on TV.
They don't come back in until the 60th minute around, probably in the second half. It's ridiculous.
They're leaving 15 minutes later. But it is. Well, you've seen it. It's like a 5-star hotel in some of the bits, maybe higher. So, but I'd love to see the Sky Bar or something like that before. Just that. Take that in the view over the pitch. Just look out towards the Cockerel. It's going to be something special.
Yeah, but how excited are you just to get into that? Coming back home. Obviously, you've been going together for like 10 years. You were at the old White Hart Lane and then at Wembley. How did it compare for you guys? Obviously you have to travel a long way. It's been a bit different for us. But how did it compare for you to move to Wembley for those 2 years and moving away from White Hart Lane?
The first year, I was always like, that's all right. It's Wembley. We'll get used to it. It's only for a season and all that kind of stuff. So I was all right. I was quite excited about it, quite happy about it. I had a decent seat, met some good friends in there, made some friends and everything. But in the end, it was just killing me. I was like, it just drains everything out of you. It's great to see all your friends. It's great to have a laugh and all the rest of it. But it's just like walking into that stadium. It just kills it for me. And I just want to get back to White Hart Lane. Back to something that means something. And that's why I say to Jason on the way up here. This is why. For me, football's not just about the 90 minutes. It's about the whole experience. It's about the camaraderie. It's about your friendship. It's about the whole day. And that's why we're all so desperate to get back to White Hart Lane, because we all know everything about that place. It's going to be in the same place, but it's a better place within it. But everything will still be
exactly
what
the
we
surrounding
want.
areas, all exactly the same. All the pubs that everyone used to go to are still there. All the people that are running all these places are still running them. You know what I mean?
Chick King, Jack's Caff.
The most important thing.
We're going in Jack's Caff from the 80s. So
The first season at Wembley, we were playing great football. We were smashing Real Madrid, Manchester United, Liverpool. The whole experience, it was Wembley, but just it was made it easier by us winning and playing good football. And there was so much fatigue that set in the second half of the tendency being that you know, we weren't going home. It was delayed after delay. You got the old picture of doom from Tottenham Hotspur, and you knew you were going back to Wembley.
Well, no,
that wonderful they need to change that, really.
Yes,
it's really
they
bad. But that just means doom at the moment. Well, it might be good news now, but the whole experience in that first season wasn't too bad, and plus it gave us an opportunity to get a season ticket, which is something that a lot of us hadn't had the opportunity before, and it gave us a stepping stone to get the new experience going back into the lane. But as I say, just walking down the high road, someone was talking about we should have a march down the high road, you know, to the stadium, and a la Schalke and people like that. And that would be fantastic. But whether people will organise that, I don't know, for the first game. But can you imagine?
I mean, I would love it, but I can't see it.
The police around it or something
that
like that.
kind of stuff.
You know, just walking down the high road and just getting the smell and feel of the place back again. It will feel like home. You know, once you're back in there, you're back. You've just moved 100 yards to the left, and you're back in your where your DNA is, really, isn't it?
Yeah.
So. Yeah.
Do you think it's a good move not waiting till next season? I know we're only 5 games to go, really, at the new stadium.
Yeah, good move.
And you think as soon as possible just get in there?
Yeah, absolutely.
I think the apathy from the fans. A lot of footballers, right, are on social media, whether they're on social media as themselves or whether they've got separate social media so they know what's going on. You can't tell me that it ain't affecting them, the negativity and that comes round. I mean, you know, social media, Twitter can be a terrible place after a loss, can't it? Let's be honest, right?
Especially Spurs.
Yeah. So these guys must feel that, and they must know how that feels and everything. And I personally do feel that Wembley's having an effect on them because of the uncertainty, because of the. And okay, they should be able to play on any piece of grass, right? Mm-hmm. But like we say, football's about your home. It's about, you know, everything around you. It's about the feeling rather than anything else. So. Yeah. For me, let's get back there. I don't care what happens. Let's get back there and just go from there.
For me, it was completely lifeless, Wembley, especially this season. You know, especially like when you think about games like when we played Wolves this season at Wembley. You know, we were going for the title at that stage pretty much. If we would have won the game, we're banging the title race. I think I recognise maybe 1 or 2 songs being sung the whole game, and we're going for a title. And because we're at Wembley, literally the only reason. It felt like a nothing game, literally.
Yeah. It was a micro atmosphere. Micro atmosphere. So you were channelled between block 126 and 132, and that's where the atmosphere was. And as soon as you split everybody up, that was it. It was gone.
Yeah. I just say I was sat just I think 131 or something like that, and I was sat back with it, and I had these 2 young guy and young girl, and they just spent the whole time snogging. You know, if it wasn't for Tottenham, I'd probably been a bit more interested. But you know, watching them kissing, I'm like, you know, get a room, like get a football's on. You know what I mean? So
Wembley.
Wolves fans were brilliant. I got a lot of time for Wolves fans. They were brilliant, absolutely brilliant fans. I think they've probably been the best fans that we've had at Wembley, certainly this season. And and actually, when they won it, as gutted as I was, you know, it must have been great for them. Must have been great for them.
There's a lot of respect out there for Wolves at the moment and what they're doing, and I think a lot of people, I know we shouldn't say it with Tottenham fans, but a lot of people's second team, I think they look out for, especially what they did the other day. So, you know, we like good football when they're playing that at the moment.
I think they're probably the best of the rest outside like maybe the top 6 or whatever.
Yeah, but I enjoyed the atmosphere when I went to Wolves. I was lucky enough to get up there for that game. So
I think even away games, the Spurs atmosphere has been a bit dead this season. I don't know what it is. Maybe it's still the Wembley thing lingering over us, but when you say that Wolves game, I think the Wolves atmosphere was great, but in terms of the actual Spurs fans atmosphere, I didn't think it was that great up there.
Yeah.
Tony Baylor says, "Can Lee give his head a wobble?" There we go. Tony. I hope you're happy, Tony. That's one for you. What do you make of comments of from some people in the media saying that Spurs moving into the stadium at this point ruins the integrity of the league?
I think that's Mr. Warnock.
That's a Jason Cundy thing, isn't it?
That's just
Mr. Warnock.
I've seen that around.
That's
what Jason Cundy said.
Man's just bitter and twisted. Like, you know, there's never been a situation like this where they've built a ground in the same place where your ground has been. Every other team that's moved into another ground, they've moved, right? So they've gone from one place to another. So there's no reason for them to delay and all the rest of it. In this situation, you're building a brand new state-of-the-art stadium in the same place where your stadium was. So you've got no other opportunity. So for me, that's just bitter and twisted. But, you know, I don't care what they think anyway.
Especially Jason Cundy, that's for sure.
Yeah, Jason Cundy, who's he? You know what I mean?
And who does the advantage fall under anyway? The people who played at Wembley, or who they're saying the advantage falls for? The people who
I suppose it depends whether you won or you lost.
Exactly.
I mean, so if you won or you lost, that depends on whether it was benefit or not for them.
It's a lost argument, I think. In the FA, you know, they're fully backing us. You know, they're one of the major stakeholders that want us in because they want to use the ground.
They must have had it in there from the start, mustn't they? That like if it does run over or whatever, we need to have a contingency. Every building project has to have a contingency, and if you've got a contingency like that, then you know that must have been known by the people that needed to know. And Jason Cundy, you didn't need to know.
Where are you guys sitting in the new stadium? You got season tickets?
Yeah. We're quite close to each other. We're a few seats away in block 419.
Which stand is that?
North. Yeah, unfortunately we're row tranche 8 or something, tranche 7 or 8. So we were quite phase 8.
Phases.
Yeah, for
is that up or lower?
Middle. The middle band just above the goal.
Oh, or it's middle. There's 3 tiers in that stand.
Yeah.
So is that not?
It's almost like Club Wembley is.
Is it a corporate? Is it a corporate section?
No. Well, it almost might be. It's quite expensive.
It's not corporate, but they are. I think they were a bit more expensive, but they weren't classed as corporate.
What do you think of the new stadium, of how they've sold the 1-tier stand as like the atmosphere, as an atmosphere stand, and that's going to be the stand that's going to drum up most of the noise, and they've put the most expensive tickets in the whole stadium right in the middle of that section.
I don't think many of them were sold though. I don't think many of them were sold at all.
I don't know. Surely they're sold by now.
No, they're still trying to sell premium seats, aren't they?
Are they?
Yeah.
Even now.
Yeah, even now.
So, I mean, even that's worse.
Yeah,
it's going to be empty. I mean, right in the middle of the.
I don't think it'll be empty because there's always a sell out there, especially for the first year. First few months, it's going to be dog eat dog to try and get into the place. Yeah. But we were talking about earlier the Prawn Sandwich Brigade, and
are you worried that 1-tier stand could be taken over by this?
It's right across the centre. So
what do you think the thinking is behind it? Do you think they're just the
thinking is to make money. Daniel Levy at his price.
I know,
but it's a money making exercise.
So in that sense, are we being sold a dream which is not going to come to reality?
What do you think it's going to be like, though? Do you think it's going to be like...
I don't know. I'm just asking the question. I'm hoping it's going to be like the atmosphere is going to be electric, and it's going to be like old White Hart Lane. You saw the video recently when they were playing Champions League music, and you saw that video, and you can see how well that stadium keeps in the sound. It's unbelievable. You can hear it because when you're at Wembley, you can't hear anything over those speakers. I can't hear a thing when they've got people.
Those half-time things with the legends and whoever came out half-time. It was a way. I didn't hear one word of what was said.
So I think it's all set up to be amazing, but it's got to have the right. The club also have to do the right things, and I think they've got to get the people who are going to be making the noise into that stand.
This is the overall problem, right? Because I've just been speaking. I literally had a question sent to me before we came in from a guy, Billy, about his flag, right? Because he's been in touch with a club about showing his flag or hanging his flag, and there's loads of restrictions about hanging your flag and all that sort of stuff. And I'm like, well, actually, look, if you want an atmosphere in a ground, you've got to give people the tools to be able to create that atmosphere. So if you can't get your flag out and you can't stand up and you can't sing and all the rest of it, then what's the point, Yeah. I mean, there's a big thing going on about, supporters or fans, not customers and stuff, which is a great saying, really, because, we are fans. We're not customers of the club. We don't go there to buy stuff. We go there to be entertained by the club, by the players. So it depends on what the club want to do. If they actually want a proper atmosphere, because that's what sells, right? So you can sell football across the world to all these other countries, but if the stadiums are empty, people will notice that, and it's less exciting. If you haven't got fans singing, if you haven't got fans jumping about, and people celebrating, what happens as soon as there's a goal goes in? What do? They pan to the crowd to watch them celebrate. But if they're pan to the crowd and they
just do nothing
to celebrate, and everyone goes, and you've got a bloke standing there going, sit down, what's going on? This is football we're talking about. This is a passionate game.
But the thing is, we could already see these. We could already envisage these problems happening. That's the thing. From a mile away, we can already see it. But no one's at the moment talking about it. We're just so excited to get in there. But I don't know. I'm just worried there could be an issue.
Well, the thing is, if the tickets are not sold, they might be selling them as a game-by-game basis, and if that's the case, then they probably will get sold. But the problem is that these corporates, as you said before, they don't like to come in like 15 minutes after half time and 15 minutes. They like to eat their prawn sandwiches. I know we don't have a cheese room, but I'm sure they'll sneak some cheese in there somehow.
It's a wish, isn't it, really?
But
what? No cheese room? What? When did that get taken away? No!
Taken away.
But if there's around about 8,000 corporates, we're not going to get away from it, are we? Because most of the West Stand, let's face it, a lot of the East and over towards the South, middle band, it's down to, we don't want forced fun though, do we? We don't them to, be cheerleaders in front saying you've got to cheer now. But it's up to us to generate that our own atmosphere.
Yeah, we don't want all
that will
flag
develop
waving
once we get in there and
we
we find the rules and we found our feet. it won't be immediately. We'll sing like we normally do, but you know, the barriers will start to come down. We'll start to be let free a little bit more, and then we'll start to, you know, get a stamp on that atmosphere. But it won't be for a little while, I don't think.
I think the Premier League in general has an atmosphere problem, especially recently. When I see, even I've watched games in Europe, especially in Germany, or even when we go away in European games, it's just so totally different. I'm sorry, people are much more lively. They're much more buzzy. They've got these big flags. They've got flares. Everyone's bouncing up and down. You saw the Schalke fans the other week in Manchester, marching up and down the streets. For some reason, the Premier League, I don't know what it is. Maybe there's too much money. It's too much corporatization of the Premier League, especially recently. I feel like the grounds, especially when we go week in, week out, away to away days, 90% is the atmosphere's dead.
They've lost their soul a little bit.
Yeah.
It's quite generic.
It's all just about money and that sort of stuff. I was at the Southampton game, and I got a new flag, so I took my new flag. I was really chuffed to take this flag with me, and I'm outstairs before the game kicked off, and I'm like to the steward, where can I hang my flag? And he's like, no, you can't hang it there. I said, well, can I hang it here? No, you can't hang it there. So, well, where can I hang it? He said, oh, you can hang it over there. So I went to hang it over there. No, not there. I'm like, well, you just told me to hang it there. No, hang it down there. And it's all because of a logo. You know, you've got to hang it. Like, you've got logos everywhere.
Yeah.
You've got logos everywhere. The whole point of a flag is to show your support.
Yeah.
You know, and if you ain't showing your colours, what's the point of that? And for me, it just kills the whole thing, you know?
So in that sense, the one point being the new stadium, as much as I'm excited to go in there, I think that this kind of problem needs to be addressed. And I don't know how the Premier League has to look around addressing it.
You can't really address it until we actually get in there.
No, I know, you're right.
Yeah.
So
once the barriers start coming down,
you have to see how far you can push the barriers. You have to see how far you can push the barriers before they say, well, you can't do that.
I think once we start to generate noise and we see how loud the place is going to be, then it will just tune everybody into that way of thinking anyway.
Just the people from the Park Lane, the people from the Shelf just need to replicate what they've been doing for years and years and years and years.
They will, provided they're allowed to.
Yeah.
That's the difficulty.
I'm just hoping it's not overly corporate. That's my worry. Look at Arsenal. It's just dead.
But Arsenal's always been dead.
Yeah, you're right. Highbury Library.
Exactly.
It was always like that. It was always like that. Even in the 80s, it was like that.
And the 70s. All right, well, let's talk a bit about the Champions League draw. That was on Friday. Were you watching it live?
No, I was at work.
I was at work.
Like
I was watching it live.
I was actually on a conference call. And my friend downstairs kept pinging me up who was getting who as I was talking on the conference call. So I had it in the corner of my eye, but I wasn't watching it live.
So obviously we play Manchester City over 2 legs. In the quarterfinal, has been both played in April. What was your immediate reaction when you first heard the draw?
Oh shit!
I was like, not at all. Yeah, I was got on a card. It was always going to be someone difficult. I put a little video out saying I thought it was going to be Barcelona, which, to be honest with you, I'd have been happier with Barcelona than I would have Man City. Because of the glamour of it and then coming to the new lane and all the rest of it, I thought that would have been better. Whereas, playing Man City, you know.
Twice in the same week away from home. And
it's 3 times in 11 days.
Yeah, that's
ridiculous. So, but you have to beat who's in front of you. And if it's Man City or Porto or Ajax would have been the best away day ever.
Exactly.
But you know, we miss out on that one. Maybe get
in the semis. Exactly.
That's optimism for you. We're happy clappers, aren't we? We've got
we're Ronnie Kidd, aren't we? We're unicorns, mate.
So we just beat them and just move on to the.
Do you think Man City was the worst draw we could have gotten, especially as playing at home?
I think they're the best team in Europe at the moment.
Especially playing at home first leg as well, away second leg. Could it have gone worse?
Probably not.
Look, they're the best team in Europe, but at the end of the day, if you're going to try and win the thing, you've got to beat everyone in it, and you've got to beat the best team. So
of course, but
anyone can beat anyone, can't they? Let's be honest, right? So you look at some of the results that have gone on this season, and you wouldn't have predicted some of them, you know.
Yeah.
So
but it's more difficult over 2 legs, though.
Yeah, but you never know what's going to happen. You know, you just have to keep the faith that you're a supporter. You're there to support the team and hope that they can all turn up. If our strongest 11 are out there and they're all on par, then we could turn them over. Are we going to? Don't know, but I'm not going to write it off until it actually happens.
That's the thing. It's annoying because as soon as this draw happened, we've had so much negativity over social media and stuff. People saying, Spurs have got no chance, you may as well write off now, blah, 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 blah. But
makes me wonder how them people live their lives. I've got to be honest. How do you live your life if you're so negative over everything?
We talked about it on the way up. We said Wigan didn't go in the FA Cup final against Man City and go, we might as well just give up now. They went out there and they won the cup. So anyone could beat Manchester City.
Was that?
Oh, I don't know. What does Kingsley say?
We're rich now.
You know, on the day we can beat anybody. Let's face it, we've got the strongest team out. You know, we've had a few dips, but that's been against the teams at the lower end of the division.
Might
You
do us a
know,
favour. You never know.
Always happen with Spurs. Whenever,
Step up to.
yeah. Sorry, no, just whenever expectation is gone, whenever we have no hope, that's exactly when we come up with a result. That always seems to be how it is. Whenever we're like expecting a result, we think, oh, we actually have a good chance here. We always lose. Whenever we're expected to do something, we even against a good team, we end up losing. But when we go into a game thinking we have no hope, we always seem to spring a surprise. All the time.
You're saying that's making me think of The Sopranos. You know, you think you're out and then they just pull. That's what I'm thinking of. That's absolutely right, isn't it? You know, you do that, and when you think, I've given up with it, and then they just go and do something brilliant. You go,
even in a game when we're 2-0 down,
I'm all in.
You know, there was a group of people that were worried when we went to Dortmund. You know, we talked to people in the market square in the Dortmund marks, and they go, "Oh, we're only 3 up." If we were 5, then I might feel a little bit better about life. But what sticks in your mind is that Man United game a few years ago.
Man
we were
City.
3-0 up and we lost 5-3 in the second half. Or whatever it was.
I was at that Man City game.
That pretty much sticks in your mind.
Yeah.
But you've got to remain optimistic because you wouldn't be paying the £75 a ticket otherwise. You know.
Even the home leg, most people didn't think we were going to, especially win 3-0. You know, and going to we were hopeful maybe to get a result, but no one expected just 3-0 in that game.
But it just shows, doesn't it? It just shows what happens. I mean, if you look at when Kane scored in Dortmund, how that changed the game. I mean, that first half they were just battering.
Yeah.
As soon as he scored that goal, the sound of the ball hitting the back of the net has been iconic.
Yeah.
Because it just silence afterwards, and you just watch the rest of that game. It was almost like they'd given up, it had gone. You know, so you just don't know. You never know what's going to happen because they thought they were 3-0 down. They thought they still had a chance. You know, and that one goal made all the difference.
Do you think the psychology would be slightly different with us if we'd not had this bad run? You know, we were just about to go into that point where we might just be involved in winning the league, and also it just fell off a cliff. And then we've gone into this little period, and now we've got Man City, and everyone's like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
I think potentially.
I agree, completely agree.
Maybe we're going to come out of it the other side and go, "Actually, we've had our bad run. Now we're on the up, and we're back at the lane. Optimism." You know, let's smash this.
It's interesting because there's been a lot of negativity this season and about like even matches that we're playing, like, oh, we're going to get turned over here, we're going to get turned over there. But when you look at 2 seasons ago, everyone was positive about every game. Even if we went 1-0 down, everyone thought we were going to get back in the game. 2-0 down against Swansea, winning 3-2, wherever it was. Everyone was so positive, and you know, last season at the Lane, everything was buzzing around Spurs, and this Wembley thing has just been weaning things off people.
Yeah, but then we did it with Sonny this season.
Yeah,
Harry went and Sonny came in and he did the job for 5 games was it in a row? He scored, brought us all back up, and then Harry came back in.
But they do it every time. You know,
it's weird that we can do that and then pop out the other side.
It's the psyche of the fans, isn't it? You know, we all kind of get sucked into it all, and we all believe, you know, this guy's great and all the rest of it. And then you'll bring someone like, I can remember when Sonny first came, and everyone was crying that we needed another striker. We need another striker. Why they brought this guy in? He ain't no good at that. Blah blah. And then Kane got injured, and Sonny went on his run, started banging him in left, right, and now he's like the best Asian player in the Premier League, and You know, it just shows you. I mean, I can remember Harry Kane not being able to hit a barn door from 10 paces. He did everything but score a goal.
Amazing.
But now look at him. You wouldn't change him, would you?
No.
You know. But there was people calling when we had him there. Everyone's saying, "Oh, we're going to rely on this guy." Everyone was like, "What? Really? You know, we need a multi-billion-pound striker." And they're still calling for it now. You know?
Even Llorente this season has come in and done bits.
Yeah.
He's done his
job. He's done the job that he was asked to do. He sits on the bench. He never complains. He does his training. He comes off for 2 minutes here, 10 minutes there, and all the rest of it.
And he contributes.
He does contribute. And he brings something different.
Yeah.
Where Kane bullies the defenders and holds the ball up and all the rest of it, he comes in and he does the same thing, but for Kane. You know, so he'll go in there and he'll throw a few elbows around and push a few people over and that. And if that ball drops off to Harry Kane and he bangs one in, what else are you going to ask from him?
Yeah.
You know, I think he done all right, and I think he was unlucky when Kane come back for him to be dropped straight out. To be fair,
he was very unlucky. He was playing well.
Yeah.
But in terms of playing Man City, what do you watch? Okay, we don't have we're not favourites. We don't have a very good chance. But where can you see? I guess what I'm saying is most of our best performances have been in the Champions League, which is a positive thing, right? We've actually performed quite well this season in the Champions League. But how much of a chance do you give us against City? Like, where do you think the game could be won?
Well, the game's still, I mean, for me, the game's still 50-50.
You reckon 50-50?
Where did the game get won in the second half against Dortmund? It was Jan Vertonghen going down the left, putting in multiple crosses. Us changing our tactics basically to suit, our front men. And, when he dropped back, the crosses stopped and we stopped scoring. So I think that change in tactic, that change in dynamic really helps us.
It depends on who he puts in the team, or how he wants to play
Sanchez
and all that. Yeah, it just depends. Until the ball's kicked, for me, it's still 50-50.
Do you think the fact that City is still in 4 competitions can help us, or 3 competitions?
I think that does help us big time.
Some injuries as well, haven't they?
Yeah, I mean,
Sane.
When they've got a big enough squad to cope with it.
Is Sane injured?
No, apparently he's all right. Apparently he's all right. The German coach, yeah, said.
Fake news.
Fake news.
Wishful thinking, more like.
Yeah, it's like, do you try and sit back and hold tight against them, or do you do a la Liverpool from last season in the Champions League and just go?
Considering it's going to be in the new stadium, I think we're going to have to try and be on top of them, aren't we?
We can't just sit back, can we? That's not us.
We have to go for it.
I mean,
sitting back and trying to defend the lead and all that, that's not us, is it? Not against the team that's going to keep pulling you all over the place. It's something you'd want them to be able to do. I just don't think. I think it'd just be so relentless. You probably wouldn't be able to. So you've got to go for it, regardless.
The question is, how many goals will we feel comfortable in that first leg?
10.
0-0 and 1-0. Is it going to really cut?
If you're going into that game 10-0 up, I'm not worrying about an 11-10. Then you're not even Spurs, are you? To be honest.
The only team that can do it is City.
Did they beat Burton 9-0?
9-0, yeah.
It's Burton. Come on. So for me, I just think you've got to stay positive until the game's lost. It's still an opportunity.
But either way, just go out there and make us all proud. That's all I'm asking for.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I've always been of a belief, right? As long as the team go out there and play well, try hard, and entertain, I'm kind of happy with that. I'm not happy because obviously I want us to win, but I'd rather us go out there and really go for it and try to win the game than to try to play negative tactics and draw it out and all
some would argue our best chance of going through would be to kind of play on the counter attack and trying to kind of sit deep, wait for City to come onto you, don't let them play their football, and then when you get the chance, when you get the quick turnovers, you have fast players like Son and Eriksen and whoever's our attacking players to maybe hurt them when they're trying to dominate the ball.
But look at Liverpool last season when they beat them in the Champions League. They didn't do that. They just went completely gung ho and terrorised them from the first few minutes. They were 2-0 up or something.
Mm-hmm. I think you've got to get in their faces for sure. I think you've got to press them. You've got to press them. You've got to press them while you've got to keep playing. You've got to keep moving the ball. You've got to keep moving them about and just go for it. I just don't think we're strong enough, I guess, to sit and try to defend and hope for a break.
There's no reason why we shouldn't be though, because Dyer's fit now. He can cover the defence from the midfield. You've got Sanchez, you've got Jan, and you've got Toby. 3 top quality defenders, especially Jan and Toby. It's just the full packs of it that I'm a bit worried about. I think I would, yeah.
Some of our strongest football's come in the last 20 minutes of a game. A lot of the time. A lot of the goals, last 10 minutes. Yeah. So maybe we do need to have a bit of a game plan up to that point, and then 75 minutes onwards, really go for it and just try and get a result the best we can. But I don't think we can take them on their own game at the beginning of the match.
That's what I'm worried about.
Because if we open ourselves up, then we're just going to get ripped. So.
And especially how we've played City in the last few times we played them. Remember this season at Wembley, they scored very early on. I remember last season
we dominated for 90 minutes though.
Yeah. Did we do with Manchester United?
We did alright, yeah.
So,
last season City battered us big time twice when we tried to take them on their own game. We did struggle big time. So I'm just worried if we were to kind of go for it straight away and not be a bit pragmatic, we could end up losing a home leg, which we can't afford to do. We can't really afford to be losing that game if we want any chance of going through.
Yeah, I agree. I think we need to win our own game. We need to win our own game and make sure they don't score. But how we do that's the question. Are we able to sit and defend that? And I agree with you. I think we have got some really good defenders. I think I love Sanchez. I think he's great. Old Big Dave, I like him. I think he's really good. But as we've heard, everyone's got a mistake in him, and that, and if he's getting battered the whole time,
he's still very young as well.
I just worry about that aspect of it.
I think what I worry about the most is I think City's strong points are their wing play, and whereas our big weaknesses are fullbacks.
Yeah.
It's worrying as well what Trippier's been coming out and saying this week. You know, he hasn't had a good season. He's not feeling great and stuff.
I don't think that's worrying. I think that's a good thing.
I mean, it's good
that he knows that he's not played well.
It's worrying that we've got such a strong team coming up 3 times in the space of 11 days.
Yeah, and Aurier will have to play both Champions League games.
I'm just interested to see if the game's going to turn out like a Premier League game or like a European game.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking, because you said earlier about our best games have been in the European competitions, but that's against European teams. This is against a Premier League team, isn't it?
It's true.
So it'll be different. It'll be Premier League style play. So our form in the Champions League's not really going to count for that.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking.
You know. Yeah. So, but again, like I say, I'm an happy clapper, mate. I'm just going to support them and.
You happy clapper?
Yeah, happy clapper.
Well, yeah, definitely.
I'll have it.
All right. So
we've got some questions on here. We're going to win the Champions League. We've got some questions on Instagram.
We need to get to Ajax.
Yeah.
Ajax in the semis. Once Ajax beat Juventus, simple. And then we'll be playing Ajax in the semis. Easy does it.
Yeah, I'll tell my missus now I want to go to that, love.
Yeah, you're booking your flights to Madrid for the final already?
Wow. Might need a leave pass for that one.
Yeah, might need. Well, I don't know. We've got some friends in. Got a friend in Madrid, so maybe we can't just tell the missus. I don't know. I've got some friends in Madrid. I just told my missus we're going to go.
We got one here from Eden Cooper. If you were given the choice between these 2 options, what would you choose? Have a guaranteed spot in the top 4, but being knocked out by City in the quarterfinals, or not having a guaranteed spot in the top 4, but knowing that we would play the Champions League final without knowing the end result?
For me, Champions League final.
Yeah. I think I'd have to go for that.
This is once.
I
hate to say it, but not once in a life. Well, it kind of is once in a lifetime, isn't it?
For a Tottenham fan.
Yeah.
For a Tottenham fan,
maybe more than once for younger viewers.
I've been going for like 40 years and never been to one. So
no, exactly. So Champions League final.
I think Champions League final.
Champions League final.
Silverware. You want to go?
It's got to be, doesn't it?
Yeah,
all you get for top 4 is a chance to play in it again. If you're going in it and you're not challenging to win it, what's the point of being in it?
And also, it's possible you could finish 4th and not get Champions League this season. That's still possible.
Is it?
Yeah.
How?
Because if a team, if Arsenal or Chelsea win Europa League and finish outside the top 4, and Man United win Champions League while finishing outside the top 4, 4th doesn't. 4th is not. 4th doesn't count for a Champions League.
And how likely is that?
You know what? We've seen it happen before.
Did you get
That's all I'm saying.
Why did you bring us into this?
It's so negative.
Come on, you need to join the happy clappers, mate. You can't be doing this. Killing us.
I've seen it happen before, unfortunately.
Did you guys go to the football museum in Dortmund?
No.
It stood next to the European Cup. It was a beautiful thing.
Oh, really?
It's pretty special. So you want that parade up there.
I think we won the European Cup. Also, it gets us something. Over there, our North London rivals. Winning Champions League.
Any rival, to be fair.
This is another one from Chenks saying the main top 6 sides are all like trying to keep their players safe from internationals this week, and Spurs never do. Do you think that's a problem, or do you think that Poch needs to start doing that and protecting his players in these international breaks?
We actually talked about this earlier, didn't we?
We talked about it because we've got the core players. We've got 5 players, so if they're without us, they're pretty.
But it's not even just England. You're talking about all different kinds of countries as well.
Yeah, absolutely.
Certainly for me, I think with regards to Dyer and Delhi, I think it would be quite useful for them to get some minutes. Because they've been injured and stuff.
Yeah.
So it might be quite good for them. Rose, I'd rather he didn't play, if I'm being honest. Harry, I think he's coming back from injury. I just don't think England can play without him, to be honest. Although I have to say I'm not a big fan of international football. It's not.
I am, after experiencing last summer, probably one of the best
You were
times
at the
since
World Cup?
Euro nights. No, I was in Weymouth.
Okay.
But I was
shampoo.
believe me, if I got there, I would do. But I was in one of those sort of fan park type setups
Yeah.
where we had big screen and thousands of people, and the atmosphere was amazing.
So life peaked when Trippier's free kick went in.
Well, it was beer showers all round.
Yeah.
I think it was. I think they say pretty much like it was on the telly. But you want your best players playing for England, get them through the competitions, and if people like Liverpool and Man City don't want to put their players forward, then poor, sort of.
But yeah, I agree with you for like World Cup. You can't stop them going to an international tournament, but you're talking about kind of these group stage games, qualifiers and friendlies where it's kind of a given that we're going to win.
Friendlies, I don't think
Yeah.
we should even bother with. I
It's
think
a
they're a
qualifiers.
waste of time.
Well,
Qualifiers is just a money making scheme.
But I'm looking forward to June the 6th when we're playing the United Nations, wherever it's called.
Yeah.
Tin Pot semi-final against Netherlands. But
Oh, yeah?
I'm looking forward to that. It's another opportunity to get together with a few mates, have a few beers.
Why
do a
not?
shower and,
Why not? Nothing else to do in the summer anyway.
some of the best times.
There is nothing else to do in the summer, to be fair.
Well, there was some interesting quotes, I thought, from Eriksen, who was asked about if he's been suffering from fatigue this season or recently, if that's why he's in bad form. He said, "It's bullshit. You get used to playing so much. After all, I've played many games for quite a few seasons in a row. Rather, he says, it feels unnatural when you're not playing. He says, the legs are doing well. We didn't play at the weekend. It's been a long time since we hadn't had matches every 3 or 4 days. It's nice and a little strange. I'm actually a little restless because I want to play more. A few months ago, there was sudden chaos. We won a couple of games, and everyone was in heaven again. That's how it happens in the Premier League." Then he says, "There is actually a nice atmosphere. Of course, we would like to win a few matches, but we played okay in the period when it went well. We might have won in injury time in small margins." Anyway, he's saying that the fatigue excuse is just absolute rubbish, basically. So, but
He has been off the boil terribly.
Yeah.
His passing's been shot.
Yeah, he's got one eye on Madrid. That's why.
I mean,
Well, that's what everyone keeps saying, isn't it?
Southampton, Ward-Prowse did everything we wanted of what we want from Eriksen.
Yeah.
Put the ball in the back of net. I know he hit the crossbar,
Yeah.
and the game could have been completely different. But for long periods, he was, he's not the player that he was
Absolutely.
certainly in the first season at Wembley.
Absolutely.
He's dropped right off, and
we're getting a lot of comments
he's a
actually about
playmaker.
Eriksen. We're getting a lot of comments about Eriksen. People wondering who you would, if he was to leave in the summer, who you'd want to replace him, and do you think he will leave in the summer?
It's so difficult.
I think he's going to leave in the summer. I can't see him staying. To be fair,
There seems to be this growing thing for Bale, for Eriksen, but there's completely different players. I don't know where that comes from.
well,
One-
with
one for
Zidane, coming back into Real Madrid anyway, I think that's just
Yeah,
a
they're different
non-story.
players. But
I've got to be honest. I'm not a great. I'm not a great aficionado of other players from other teams and all that. So I don't, until they start playing for my team, I don't really take a lot of notice of them. To be perfectly honest with you, I'm a one team man, and that's me. So if Eriksen goes, for me, it's just a case of who the club decide to bring in.
You trust in Poch, don't you? So.
Yeah, you have to. I'm not a football manager. I'm a supporter. I watch them and cheer them along. So I don't know. I don't know who they could bring in that's going to be good enough. Eriksen on his day is a great player for sure, but then there are times where he goes absolutely missing, and you're calling him out. We've got a lot of times we've watched a game and you go, where's Eriksen when you need him? To pull something out of the hat. So I just don't know.
See, that's what I would say.
So how much of a loss is it then if he leaves this summer?
Wow.
for me, it'd be a huge loss. He's had a little bit of a dip in form, but you look at the good times, and when he was being a world-class playmaker, and some of the results that we got was just unbelievable. When he scored that in that first minute, was against Man United, or something. That's when he was absolutely smashing people.
I think as well with when they on the Southampton game and Dele came back, I felt that Eriksen looked an awful lot better when Dele was back. Because he's obviously Dele's been out, and we said, didn't we?
Complement each other.
They was kind of playing well together, and he looked a lot sharper. And I said that to the guy I stood next to, and I said, Eriksen looks really up for it today. He looks really good, But this is obviously the first half, so and they actually look. So maybe the bit where he's been missing is where he's been missing Dele being in that position for him to help him out, maybe.
Because maybe when Dele's not playing, there's a bit too much pressure on Eriksen to create. When Dele's there, he shares the burden between both of them, kind of thing.
Yeah, I think that's absolutely right.
I definitely wouldn't want him to go. I definitely wouldn't want him to go.
Anybody from the first squad to go, but first team squad to go, really. But I think it's inevitable at some point.
He hasn't signed a contract, has he? And he's only got a year left. There were conflicting rumours actually this week. I read some reports saying that Spurs do expect him to sign a new contract.
Toby? Or
Eriksen, sorry. There were reports saying they do expect him to sign a new contract, and there are other reports saying that Spurs are resigned to losing him. So it's conflicting. I read, but I think all the signs point to him leaving at the end of the season. I think it's
I've
near.
heard a rumour that his house is up for sale.
Have you?
Yeah.
Well, the worst thing would be if he leaves and there's a knock-on effect on everybody else, and we start to see this depletion of this almost golden generation. I hate to say it really, because England didn't do particularly well with their golden generation. But we've got this golden group at the moment, and that starts to get depleted once people start to, leave the club.
I think our biggest strength has been our togetherness as a team, as a squad. They look really together, and you've got to give credit to that to Pochettino. I think he's brought all them players together, and they play for each other. You see how much it means to them when one of them play. When Llorente scored, they were all straight to him and stuff like that, and you can see it. It means something to them. They're all for each other, So I think I don't think that would happen personally. If Ericsson went, I think they would all go. They'd all shake his hand and say off you go, and I don't think that would make everybody else go, well, actually I think I'll leave now.
Yeah, well, it's similar with Carl Walker. He left and no one kind of followed suit, and they seem to be still very good friends with Carl. Every time they meet up.
Was it a Graham Roberts says no one's bigger than the
no one's bigger than the club.
No one's bigger than the club.
It would be very hard to replace someone of Ericsson's quality. Though.
Of course.
I can't see how. Especially whoever we sign, I can't see him fitting straight in there.
But it might not be a like for like thing, you can trust in Poch to start changing up the tactics and stuff like that. It doesn't have to be all right. We take out Ericsson and bring in exactly the same position, Like they were saying with Gareth Bale, you can obviously fit Gareth Bale in there. It's just not the same system as we were playing this season.
Yeah, but if you're willing to offer Gareth Bale astronomical wages, you might as well offer Ericsson. There's that balance, isn't there? He can destabilise everything with the.
I'm not a lover of going backwards if a player's been and gone. I'd rather they stay gone.
Not even
personally.
Of his quality.
Well, yeah, I mean it'd be fantastic, but you've got to bear in mind it's 5 years or so since he's been gone, something like that.
Yeah,
so he's 5 years older. He's he's done different things. He's played with different players, and sometimes someone coming back into that can change the dynamic of the squad and how they get on together. Someone coming in being Billy Big, they could come in and I'm on 600 grand a week, what are you on, sort of thing.
But on the flip side of that, then people are saying we're crying out for winners in our team, people that have won stuff, people that have been there, people that have done that, people that can lead the way. And Gareth Bale's been gone for 5 years, come back with 4 Champions League medals, if he was to come back.
Yeah, but is Gareth Bale a leader? Is he going to be the guy that goes into the dressing room and says, right, this is how we do it, I'll pull you up by the shoelaces and get you on? Or is Gareth Bale the type of player who wins the game on his own because he just does what Gareth Bale does, which is pretty much what he was doing before he left? So, our team is very much a team, in my view. I've watched Tottenham for a lot of years, and we've always had good individual players. If you go back to the days of Gaza and all that, Hoddle and all that, you've had some good players around them. But now we've actually got a good team, so there's strength in most positions in the team now. Whereas for a lot of years we've always just relied on that one player to do magic to pull us through. Mm-hmm. So bringing in one big name player in the middle or wherever to lead the team forward may not be the answer. I think the team itself is and the growth of the team and that camaraderie for me is more important. So I think Pochettino would be looking at who can I bring in. Who's going to play my way? Who's going to fit in with the team? Who's going to work well with all those around him? That would be my view.
Yeah. You were talking about our poor form recently. Yeah. Who do you think is to blame for that poor form? Because we've obviously before the Burnley game.
You can't ask happy clappers that.
Yeah.
No. For the Arsenal game, the defence were like strangers for the first 15 minutes. They were missing the ball. They were not talking to each other. There was the dynamic had completely gone. And it took a good 20-25 minutes to get into that game where people were actually completing a pass. And then, we got into it. There's just a confidence has been shattered by a couple of the results. And we're just looking for that next result to just tip us over the balance again to get us all gelling. Because we seemed like strangers.
Yeah, but it's a weird one because before Burnley, we were on a 4-game winning streak?
Yeah, but I think that was papering over the cracks. Because all those 4 games, we got goals in the last minute. But I think the football... was similar to what we're playing now. I don't think it was any good, those 4 games.
Yeah, but
I think we were just about getting over the line with a bit of luck on our side. I don't think it was because we were playing well or anything like that.
I get that, but there's no reason why we should have gone into that Burnley game, especially with it was Harry Kane's first game back. Why we should have gone in there with any sort of lack of confidence or lack of cohesion within the team. I know we weren't playing great, but we were still getting results over the line. There should be confidence. Doesn't matter. we were still getting the results, so that should have given the team confidence, so they can go into these games now. They should have given them more confidence now that Kane is returning, that we can really start trying our stuff and playing our football and kicking on from the position we were in. And the fact that we lost 3 of our last 4 games, 2 of them against Burnley and Southampton, does Poch have to take a bit of blame for that?
I think in the Burnley, I think he probably does a bit, because obviously being the manager, you're always the person who's under the cosh, right? So with the Burnley game, and I'm terrible, right? So my memory of games that I've already got is terrible.
We lost 2-1.
Yeah. So, but if I remember, didn't we have Van Foyt in defence?
Yes.
And he got bullied.
Well, I was going to say.
And I think for me, I think
the
the key to that was. He was saving Sanchez and that for the Chelsea game, which came after,
Which we lost.
and that was probably the wrong choice. You know, as much as I like that guy, I think he's a really good kid, and I think he's got a lot of promise. But he is quite small and weak in that, or he looks a bit weak, and he got bullied. And I think Poch needs to take a bit of a blame for that, because he perhaps had one eye on the next game.
Mm-hmm.
And the other thing on that game, I think, for me, I thought Llorente was unlucky to not start that game, given the form that he had been in. I thought he's crying out for someone like him to give them as much as they would give us. The Southampton game's totally different. I don't think it's the same scenario. I think Southampton was totally different. We came out of the second half there thinking we'd already won the game, and we were complacent.
That was actually some of the best football we played in a while. That
In the
first
first
half of the
half.
Southampton game.
Yeah, it was really good. So we was loving it. We was loving it there. So it was really disappointing when they come out and the Southampton fans were giving us some stick.
I'd say against Watford, against
Us
Burnley,
nicking their song, yeah.
Yeah.
we were bullied. The Troy Deeneys and the Woodses of Burnley, they played pretty turgid football, to be fair, but they just bullied our defence. With Wolves and Southampton, it was complacency, just lack of concentration in the second half. We just thought we were over the line and we just completely threw it away.
Yeah.
So
There's a bit of both
worry
then.
is the worry is the
Definitely.
fact that our defence is being bullied by some of these teams, and that's
that shouldn't be happening.
that shouldn't be happening. Especially we've got the experience now, Toby and Jan and all the rest of it. But with Southampton, that turn by Rose and it went across. I think Valerie smashed the ball in the net, and you could just see the momentum changing straight away.
Yeah.
And as soon as Ward-Prowse picked that ball up, you just kind of knew in the back of your mind that.
Yeah, especially as he stole off the pitch to get it closer.
I think they had 4 or 5 players running at us in the second half, constantly running at our defence, and they just completely dominated the last 20 minutes.
Which is my point about the Man City thing, about us, soaking up all that pressure. It just bothers me. If you're like that against Southampton, no disrespect to Southampton,
Yeah.
but if you're doing that against Southampton, how are you going to cope against
You
Man
say
City?
that, but look at the game against Dortmund. In that first half away in Dortmund, we soaked up so much pressure. Lloris was on fire. Defence was playing really well.
I think the difference between Southampton and, say, like Dortmund game is when we're soaking up pressure against Dortmund, we really are soaking up pressure in terms of everyone gets back, everyone's in position, everyone's disciplined. When we're soaking up pressure against Southampton, people are still, flying forward. People are still kind of half hoping we get on the attack again. People are kind of waiting on the half turn. Everyone's not fully backwards because they trust their defenders. They can handle an attack like Southampton, maybe unjustly in a way, because obviously they made us pay for it. But maybe it was a bit overconfident, a bit complacency. That's the difference.
But at the end of that game, Southampton. I got a lot of stick from Southampton fans because I know quite a few of them. Living in Bournemouth, there's quite a few of them about, and they all come out of the woodwork as soon as they get a result, because they don't get one very often. So to get one against us for them was really, really good. So they loved it. So I got a lot of stick from them, but fair play to them. I
Just
thought
send them a
Southampton
picture of
deserved
Ronnie
it.
Rosenthal on a post and they'll be all right.
Yeah, and they deserved the game. Everyone deserves a bit of glory sometimes, don't they? So
Yeah, I mean, I wanted to go through as well. So the legends that are going to be there on for the Legends game on Saturday. You're both going to be there for the Legends game?
Yeah, we're both.
Or is it next week?
we're taking two
Next
buses, aren't we?
2 buses up
Two
from
buses
South
going up from
Dorset.
South Dorset.
2 buses
Two
for the
buses,
Legends game.
Yeah.
Jeez, so how many people in total are going to be there?
About 30 or
Yeah, somewhere
we've
around
got
30.
a few travelling up on the train and stuff like that. So
Alright, so
quite a big contingent, really.
the legends that have been announced, or I can see so far, are Jurgen Klinsmann, Robbie Keane, Rafael van der Vaart, Dimitar Berbatov, Alan Nilsson, David Howes, Stephen Carr, Darren Anderton, Eric Thorsved, Naeem, Mickey Hazard, Mark Falco, Timu Tainio, Paul Stalteri, Pascal Chimonda, Chris Perry and Neil Sullivan.
Talking about Alan Nilsson, today is the 20th anniversary of that Worthington Cup win, '99.
The diving header.
Yep.
Really, they played a League Cup final in March.
Apparently so, yeah.
Oh, wow.
We played a League Cup final against Man United in March, not long ago.
Not this late in March.
No, it was like 1st of March.
Yeah. Are they all legends?
For me,
Paul Stout's Harry, the Spurs legend.
If they wear a Spurs shirt, they're a legend.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Really?
For me, yeah.
Well,
For
there's
me,
a couple. There's a
they
couple
want
you
a
got to
shirt.
omit from that list, but
Well,
yeah,
the
no names, obviously.
The obvious
No,
candidates. But
yeah.
if they put the shirt on, then they deserve to be there. And I don't think you should deride anybody that's not a big name. We've had some fantastic names, but they all can't be there at the same time. So.
Yeah, no, I
So
agree.
they're stretching the definition of word legend.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I just think they've had the opportunity to pull on the lily white shirt. They've played for the team. They had our support at the time. For me, if it's a little bit of glory for them, I think that's fantastic, and it's a nice way to show some appreciation for past players, right? Not necessarily saying they're all legends, but some of the people that are slagging them off and saying that they're not legends. Well, did you ever play for Tottenham? Did you ever pull the shirt on and go on the pitch? Well, not. So they've done more than we did. So. You've got to give them that benefit,
You look at Teddy and Berber, and there's a lot of disquiet about them coming back, because Berber suspectedly went a bit on strike and all that sort of stuff, but I'd love to see Berber.
Berbatov, Ledley King called Berbatov to play back at his testimonial, so for me, that case, that's a non-story.
I don't know, but also the reception Berbatov got at the testimonial was great. He got a great reception at the Ledley King.
He's always been positive about it.
And also, he knocked Arsenal out the Champions League when playing for Monaco, so...
Yeah. But we all hope for Gaza, though. We all hope for Gaza. I would love to see him there.
Is there rumours?
It's been rumours.
Strong rumours that Gaza's going to play.
But, hearing Rafa van der Vaart, from 45,000 people, is going to be something special.
And also, Gary Mabbutt's going to be the manager.
Yeah, well, doesn't get any bigger.
Exactly.
Legend.
Yeah, he's a legend.
So.
Will Darren Anton make it? Or is he
Darren Anton put that injured last minute.
Robbie Keane and Berbatov rekindling their partnership.
It's a shame that Jermaine Defoe's not coming back, but...
Why is that?
He's playing for Rangers, isn't he?
So he's not going to be able to make... he's actually playing on that day.
Maybe it's still to be released. I think there's going to be a core... Still,
it's not till half 5. Maybe you could play after.
A small core of guys that's still maybe going to get released and surprise us.
Oh, really?
Well, I believe so. If this Gaza thing's going to be coming off, then why not a couple of others? So
who else would you like to see then?
Ledley's only got one name.
Ledley, yeah.
Nice to see him around.
Steve Archibald and Gareth Crooks.
I honestly believe a lot of them are going to be walking the concourses. Because when we went to the South Stand event, there's Mark Falco, Graham Roberts, walking the concourses, meeting fans. So we've got this core of players that are going to be out on the pitch, but I think there's going to be a group that are going to be going around and meeting everybody and shaking hands and stuff. So Graham Roberts always, because he's from Weymouth, started off in Weymouth, so he's always a favourite for us. What do you think of? Ozzy and Ricky, it would be nice to see them at the stadium. Going back a few years, but that's when I first started supporting them. So anyone from that sort of era.
Isn't Jermaine Genius playing?
I think he is.
He wasn't on that list.
He got grief as well.
Did he get grief as well?
Why? This is Twitter.
It's just life on social media.
Spurs Twitter really pisses me off sometimes. Really pisses me off.
Yeah, there's some good people on it, but there is some people on there that are really difficult to have to listen to.
Yeah.
Well, listen to, but read their posts and stuff. But
Kingsley says he wants Big Roman Pav back.
I would love to see
That's a really great shout.
Yeah, that is a good shout, actually.
Yeah, Rebrov?
Rebrov, why not? Bring in Postiga as well.
Adam Phillips says, where's
He's got a
Rebrov?
good song.
He also says, where's Edgar Davids? He wants Edgar Davids back.
I'm hoping he's going to be in the Milan team, but we'll see. And Nicola Berti as well.
Go on,
Nicola Berti would be a good one.
Nicola Berti.
No, Nicola Berti.
Yeah, there you go. You just got a Rebrov comment.
Yeah.
Oh, really? Yeah, well, it's probably the start of the...
What kind of reception do you envisage Stephen Carr getting?
I mean, he also played at Ledley King's
Did he
testimony,
play?
And he got an alright. He got an alright reception.
I don't know if he did.
I think he did. Yeah.
Okay.
He got an alright reception, but I think he got a bad rap for when he left Spurs because he wanted to go to Newcastle and win things as opposed to staying at Tottenham and winning things. But Stephen Carr, he came through the ranks at Spurs, didn't he? So
maybe Big Goffy.
Richard Goff.
Ian Walker.
Ian Walker.
See if he's still got
what
that
he's
same
up to
barnet.
these days? He's like coaching in China now.
Is he?
Yeah.
I wonder if he's still got that haircut.
I bet you he does.
Marty McFly 1985 says Gary Lineker. Why does Gary Lineker never do anything with Spurs anymore? He never comes out half time.
He speaks us up quite well on the old social media, but on the.
I think
on
David Howes is playing as well.
I think he's got so many allegiances with Everton and
Leicester mainly.
Leicester,
Barca.
I mean, of course it'd be good to see Gary, Gary and Gazza.
Yeah, he would never. Jordan Hunter says Jonathan Woodgate.
I think I saw his name on the list, but that's the one I want to see. Gary Doherty, Ginger Pele.
Yes. We need to get a petition going to get Gary Doherty back play. That'll be absolutely fantastic.
Just put him in any position.
We get questions. Would you put him up front or in defence?
Anyway, we need to go on the second.
If I ever get him on the podcast, that's the first question I'm asking. Were you a striker or a defender? We're going to clear this up right now.
Just say, put me wherever you want. I'll just play my art out.
On Football Manager, he was DCST.
DCST, the only one. Never seen it. Rubbish in both.
Someone that came out the other, not came out. That's probably the wrong word, but Stefan.
I would love to see him back, Stefan Freud, and Didier Zakora.
Yeah, because he was on the Heroes thing the other day. But
why is he not on the list?
He remember the finale season? He was sitting just below us in the sort of north.
Was he?
At northeast corner. He took his family, and he regularly sort of sat in the east stand, and he just.
He's quite a funny guy as well, isn't he?
Yeah,
He's brilliant, Stefan Freud. I remember I was at the Lane. It must have been the last season at the Lane. Do you remember Sim when we saw him?
Yeah.
Stefan Freud, and I shouted to him, "Shoot!" And he runs on and he was like, "Yes, yes."
Aurelio Gomez says
Hossam Ghali, no way. Hossam Ghali is the only guy I booed in a Tottenham shirt.
Yeah, Timothy Tuba.
Aurelio Gomez would be a good one. I'd like to see him.
I mean, he had a lot of love for the club.
Benoit Suekoto.
Sideways. Vinny Sideways.
Mido.
No, Sideways.
There's some names, isn't it? Jeez.
Ili Dumitrescu.
Vlad Chiriches. Milenko Asimovic.
Was Toda a thing? I remember Toda.
Toda, yeah.
Kazuyuki Toda, the
We're
one
really
who
talking
won
about now, aren't
appearance.
we? Maybe we're doing all right for our legends.
What
thing.
about
Stefan
Mavrello Mabizela? Do you remember him?
Yeah.
Well, I think we've got enough in this team, haven't we? Jesus Christ, we'll be there all day.
We are forgetting some absolute legends.
Where's Peter Crouch? Crouch has
got to be there.
Why is he not? He's played for Burnley now.
Nico
Croucher.
Oh yeah, he'd be.
May as well just go through the whole song. You know, Ray Clements, Mitchell Thomas, Gary Stevens, Steve Hodge.
Blimey, yeah.
Anyway, I think
get Soldado back for the band.
Yeah, I think
we're more than happy. Does it say who's on?
It's been an hour.
Who's on the bench?
But
oh yes.
Thank you very much for your Dorset knobs.
We were given a gift from the South Dorset Spurs. Thank you very much.
South Dorset delicacy, apparently.
The Dorset knobs. So we're going to have a little nibble on the Dorset knobs.
Nice. What are you doing in your spare time? You crack on.
No, we're going to do it live on camera, I think.
Oh really?
Well, let's have a go. Let's have a try.
Like
All right. This is so we're going to the reviewing knobs portion of the podcast.
Here's one I made earlier. They might have gone a bit hard.
Jesus Christ, look at that.
Alright.
Wow.
Mate, what's in front of there?
What's the correct way of eating? You just dig in. No, have them with anything? Don't have them with anything?
A bit of jam or something? Yeah, it's just probably good with a bit of jam and a bit of butter on, to be fair.
Yeah, jam and butter.
Mate, that's like a lump of rock. That's
all right. You brought them? Are these fresh? Are these how they come?
They came yesterday, basically. My
They're supposed to be this hard.
Yeah.
All right.
I'll tell you what, I'll get you some more and make sure that...
How's your knobs?
I think it's more in the name than...
That could be the title of this podcast, couldn't it? Simeon chowing down on the Dorset knob. You'll get loads of views for that, won't you? You'll get loads of views for it, honestly.
Yeah, Simeon nibbling on a knob.
I think you can keep them, mate.
Yeah, they're not great. I do apologise.
There's hundreds in there as well.
We got a comment from Kingsley saying, Sim's good with knobs, aren't you?
Well, as you can see.
And we got another one saying, nibbling hard knobs.
Nibbling hard.
Yeah, this could go viral.
Knob testing.
Dorset knobs are hard.
Well, if anyone wants some knobs, where can they get them from?
Get your missus to send them out. Contact Jason Tranto, he'll get them for you by post.
If we want more knobs, go subscribe to Lee's YouTube channel.
And I'll pass you on to Jason.
All right, well, there we have it. Thank you very much for coming on, guys. Absolute pleasure having you guys on. Really, really good. I guess we'll see you. Are you going to be at Anfield on the next? We'll see you at the Legends event. We'll see you at the Legends game.
Legends game.
We'll see you at the Legends game. All right, awesome. Looking forward to that.
Okay.
Cheers, Ben. Obviously,
thank you so much.
Thanks for having my brother as well. Thank you for all your comments, your likes, your views, your suggestions. Thank you very much. We'll be back next week for another podcast.
Yes.
At the same time next week.
And comment of the day goes to Daniel Kingsley to Sim's good with knobs.
No, well done, Daniel. You win the podcast. Right? Fair play. Thanks as always. Come on, you Spurs.
Come on, you Spurs.
Everywhere we go.